All right. Here we go. I think we're ready to go. And that's what they call a cold open, folks.
Shane, Shane, Shane. Shane, 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 Shane. A-L-A-N, Allen. A-L-A-N, Allen. Allen, 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 Allen.
You remember that?
I vaguely remember that. In fact, I didn't even think about it until as I was coming upstairs to do the show right now. I was like, hey, what about that stupid ass song?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. That song that Shane spent countless hours.
Oh, yeah. I worked hard on that.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. So it's been a while. How are you doing?
I'm better than I was. You know, when we were on hiatus, it was the holiday season, super busy. Yeah. You know, it's like one half, lots of work, lots of deadlines, and then, of course, you know, family time and stuff like that. But we didn't exactly get right back to it right after New Year's either. But I feel like that's partly my fault, but also I feel like I needed a week or two of getting back into a regular schedule because, man, I was worn out.
Yeah. It definitely sounded like you're having a grand old time during the holidays. So
Yeah.
you're not dead. So there's that.
I didn't even get to do the holidays. I went down to my mom and dad's place for Thanksgiving, and that was really on the front end. I never even got to do Christmas or New Year's.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know when Asian New Year or Christmas is. Have I missed that too?
I don't know. I'm American. I don't know about that stuff.
Oh. Shit.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to know, hey, so when's this Asian thing happening? I have no idea. I don't know. I can't tell you.
I like, and yes, I did say that Asian thing because they're all, you know,
like Chinese New Year.
They're all
Lunar
way
New
over
Year.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When is that?
I don't know. Maybe February. I'm just guessing right now.
Jesus. Why aren't you like Google? Why can't I just
Well,
ask
I guess I
you
could
things?
just look it up, right? I have a computer right in front of me. I could just look it up. But you're doing it for
Wednesday.
me.
Oh! Wednesday, January 29th. We're in there.
Oh, there you go.
We're doing it. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God, that'll be an episode of It's Too Late.
Yeah, there you go. We're gonna celebrate Lunar New Year.
Yes.
Everything's all red for some reason.
That's it. We're doing it. Yeah. We're gonna do a cold open on that episode where your face is gonna be in that giant long red dragon thing. You know.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what we're doing it. Hell yeah.
All right.
Well, I haven't missed every holiday then.
All right. Are you going to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day?
No. Because, I mean, if I was just going to celebrate like an alcoholic adulterer, I'd just wait till Father's Day. Am I right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not black.
Wow. You know, I was literally going to say that. You said that. I was like, oh, I guess I have nothing else to add to that.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, like I was seeing ESPN on the TV because we went out to dinner because we're fancy like that. And, you know, the basketball players are like, oh, yeah. I didn't hear it. I was just seeing it. And they're celebrating MLK. But then they showed a picture of MLK with Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, why can't there be a Malcolm X Day? Like,
oh, we know. Oh, yeah, they ain't gonna do Malcolm X Day. They ain't gonna do that. No.
We don't want to celebrate Malcolm X, but we'll celebrate MLK, like you said, an adulterer and whatever else he did.
Yeah, but honestly though, I'm just way over. I know I'm speaking to the choir when I say things like I don't want to see all these random messages and stuff during my sporting events. Yeah. I've gotten to where my eyes just kind of blur out all the "it takes all of us" stop racism, like I don't even see that stuff anymore. But now this past weekend, when literally every single game started with a moment of silence,
Right.
as we all mourn the tragedy of what's going on in California. And I was like, man, it's quite the hubris of them to assume that we're mourning that. But, it was before every game, and I just couldn't help but think there's got to be a bunch of people in the stadium like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, start the game. Yeah. 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 I used to be. I still am, but I used to be too.
Yeah, right. I just put on the screen from part of my take. I used to be racist as fuck until the NFL painted "end racism" in the end zone. Then I was like, oh, well, shit. I guess I need to stop beating the shit out of Mexicans.
I'm sorry, come again? I mean, I don't know. Why that specifically?
Yeah, black people. Right. Black people. The people you're seeing on the television playing football.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I do like Mexican food, so.
That is true. Yeah.
Like, if you guys would ever come to Tennessee, you'd get to go to Ponchos, which is, it's kind of like the only reason anyone still comes to the things once a year is because they just want to go to Ponchos.
Well, you did mention the Los Angeles fires, and I know you don't really care. Like, for all you care, California could just burn to a crisp, right? Like,
dude, not only do I not care about California, I don't care about like anyone out west or any Yankees. And then after that, I don't even care about any other states other than my state. And then after that, I don't even care about the people outside of my county. And after that, I don't really care about the people outside of my town. And then after that, I don't really care about the people outside of my neighborhood. And I don't care about... I hate the people in my neighborhood, so...
So you're just going from really big to yourself.
Like, I'll draw the line wherever it's practical. Like, if we can cut the head off and it's down to just the state, I could live with it. But if we could cut it down to the mid-state, then I'd take that. If we could cut it down to just Columbia, I'd take that. Like, I don't give a damn about Nashville. Like, if this were happening in Nashville, my attitude would actually be very similar to if it was Los Angeles. Very similar.
Well, I mentioned LA fires because someone had an opinion about it that I thought was worth sharing. So, legendary stand-up comic and Star Wars actor Bill Burr.
Yeah. Star Wars, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because I do remember a time when Bill Burr would legit make fun of Star Wars and go, it's retarded, it's stupid. And then, of course, he ends up being in The Mandalorian. And I'm sure they're like, hey, Disney was like, hey, Bill, how about this amount of money? He's like, you're getting closer, but no. And then they're like, all right, we'll come back to you with another offer. And they come back. How about this amount of money? They're like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll be in your fucking stupid ass Star Wars show. I'll be in The Mandalorian.
See, the thing is that I'm sure that's the story that he'd like to tell people, but that's not true because as a stand-up comedian, he's not an actor by trade. He was getting into acting, because remember, he's also a member of the Breaking Bad universe.
Right.
But that was like he was a very nobody bit character that appeared in 3 episodes of the whole show and only for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of just played a bit role in the show because he may have been a stand-up comedian for a lot of years, but he wasn't really a professional actor for a bunch of years. So he's still, I mean, in terms of just purely acting, him playing a bit role in one of the Disney Plus shows it's about right.
And I thought I know he did a pretty good job.
Actually, yeah, he actually
Yeah.
did do a pretty good job
He did
in
a pretty
that.
good job. So
Yeah, he did.
So,
I've already. What was the name? Mayfield, I think. Is
something
the
like
name.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
in the episode where they're in the, I think, like enemy territory, and then that guy's talking to him, blah blah blah
Mhm.
blah, and just shoots him, and then blah.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah,
The way the facial expressions as that guy was talking, and you can tell the rage was boiling up inside him.
Mhm.
Yeah, he actually did a really good job.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that is true. Fat Ron, he has learned to fly a helicopter. That is true.
Oh, well, then we know how he's gonna die.
Like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Kobe Bryant was the one flying.
Well, yeah.
Well, he was
Helicopter.
flying for a brief period of time, but not the one operating the craft. But you know, that's how John Denver died.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Harrison Ford would die, but he keeps surviving.
Oh yeah, didn't he? He was in a crash, wasn't he?
He keeps living. Yeah.
True. He's like, damn it, I wanted to die. Fuck, now I gotta keep hearing that stupid Indiana Jones theme everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so anyway, Bill Burr went on another legendary comedian, host of the Man Show, Jimmy Kimmel. Remember that guy? Remember
No,
on
I
Jimmy
don't.
Kimmel?
No,
You don't
I-
remember the Man Show
no.
with Adam
Mm-mm.
Carolla? And then
Wow.
you know who took over when they left? You know who took over the Man Show after that?
Who?
Doug Stanhope and Joe Rogan.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a little piece of trivia for you that you didn't know.
Wow. Man, it's just one absolute knockout stand-up comedian after another in this series.
Yeah. So anyway, Bill Burr went on Jimmy Kimmel to talk about how awesome the leadership in California has done.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just and this guy said Bill Burr's an absolute legend because I think they actually liked what he said. So
Yeah.
anyway.
I heard you had to evacuate your home.
Yes, like most people I had to. I got lucky, the winds moved, but the fire was coming and all that stuff. So I feel lucky.
Are you guys back in?
And I think everybody did a great job.
Yeah.
Unlike the internet,
Yeah, right. I know. It's right.
Oh my God. All of these fire experts.
Wait, hold
Why did you just fly a
on.
helicopter?
Why does it sound like there's only 17 people in the audience? Did you hear that?
I don't know. There was only
I've
17
heard
people there.
way louder applause and whoops at shows I've done in real life than the number of people that just cheered at the Jimmy Kimmel show or whatever
maybe
the
some
hell
people
that's
were like,
called.
did Bill really just say that? A great
Maybe
job.
it's that. Maybe it's a fraction of the audience was like, woo, the hardcore libtards, but the rest of them were like,
It's like my house fucking burned down, you asshole.
well, yeah, and
That's a
it's
great freeze
it's
frame, by the
not
way.
it's not the internet. Everybody knows they're trash. But yeah, I'm sorry. I just got distracted by the fact that it literally only sounded like a dozen people reacted. I mean,
Anytime you want me to freeze
Okay.
the video, let me know.
Helicopter into the ocean. And then just, I don't know, because there was 100-knot winds. You want to do that? You want to do that at night, you lunatic?
How are you?
This was definitely mismanaged.
That's a big word we're hearing now.
Mismanaged. Like some idiot on the internet knows how to manage the worst fire in LA, sitting there in his underwear. You know what? Looking
that's
at the
not at
footage.
all what they're saying.
But it also,
No
it's
one's
always-
saying. No one's talking about mismanaging the fire. They're talking about mismanaging fire prevention.
right.
The land
Yeah,
management.
I saw something where what was it? The water chief there or something. They were doing some maintenance on some water reservoir that just so happened to be before that. And it could have been just some crazy coincidence that they just had this reservoir being maintenance. I have no idea because I'm sure there were some people that were saying that this was all arson or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, like you're saying, it was definitely mismanaged for sure. And then Gavin Newsom doing whatever the fuck he's. What has Gavin Newsom done?
Yeah. It's so like if you're seeing a towering inferno spreading across Hollywood, the mismanagement already happened. This is the result of the mismanagement. The mismanagement didn't start now. Although, if you do see a towering inferno crossing over Hollywood, then this viewer would present to you, may God's justice be done. But I'm sorry, continue.
On the internet, I have determined that this here was mismanaged.
You know about helicopters because I remember, and it's interesting now thinking about it because you
I
said
don't
that
know about it. I know about the one that I fly. Other than that, I don't know anything about it.
you know
But
something.
if you're on the
about-
internet, you know everything.
I hope you know about it because you said that you got your pilot's license in case like all hell broke loose in L.A. You could get out of L.A. and at any moment did you think I'm going to make a run for that helicopter?
Well, the error in my thought was I didn't realize how expensive helicopters were. So all I have is a 2-seater, and I didn't want to have to make Sophie's choice with my family. So, we all piled into the SUV like everybody else. But no, man, these guys were out there clearing the trees, getting the wires back up and everything. I mean, it was like the perfect awful thing that could have happened, and it did. And I love how all the chatter out there is about bands of illegal immigrants and homeless people lighting fires. They light fires every day. They're living outside. They're cold. And this theory that some homeless guy without a car went from Altadena all the way to the Pacific Palisades, and then we have a hang glider. And they're talking about looting, but CNN and Fox News are not going to bring up the insurance companies that are just going to keep everybody's premiums and still give themselves a bonus. Yes.
Yeah. What else are they not going to bring up, Bill? What else are they not going to bring up? Are they going to bring up how California has price controls on insurance premiums? So when the insurance companies became aware that they had severely cut the budget for land management in the state and they had not refilled the reservoirs and had not cleared the shrubs, that they wanted to raise premiums to offset the perceived risk, because that's what insurance is. And when the state of California wouldn't allow that to go through, that's when they canceled people's insurance. Are they going to talk about that, Bill?
By the way, the freeze frames that I've been doing so far have been perfect. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
his
Well,
eyes
yeah.
are closed
Well, he's
while you're
doing
talking.
exactly. He's doing exactly what he would be doing if someone was trying to explain to him the truth. That's it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Also, he's talking about in their underwear. Why is it whenever someone talks about someone online in underwear, I mean, I'm online. I'm not just in my underwear all the time. Maybe when I'm before bed, I'm in my underwear. But other than that,
yeah. Well, that's because at the end of the day, like this guy, I hate to like jump to the conclusion when there's still a minute left in his retarded ass diatribe, but the fact of the matter is that he built like 20 years of his career on being like a bad boy and counterculture and against authority, and that was kind of like he's the angry white man, and now here he is just filleting the fucking boot here. Like, we live in a post 2020 world where anyone deferring to authority or claiming that you need to trust the experts is just a clown. And so here's Bill Burr, the guy who used to speak truth to power, just being a total fucking clown. Imagine that being your shtick, that you're like a truth to power guy, and your answer is, let's talk about how good a job the Californian government did. Jesus.
well, also if you hear him on Opie and Anthony, like he and Anthony would almost always argue about anything political. So it wasn't like he just out of nowhere was like this, but it's just like now that he has this huge audience, he's on a lot of Hollywood shows and doing movies, whatever. It's almost like he's the allowable dissent voice. Like Bill Burr, he's a Bostonian. He's crazy. He'll over like when Jimmy Kimmel's trying to talk, Bill's continuing to talk over him because that's just how he is. He's like, well, I'm still talking. I still have my thing that I want to say. He ain't gonna stop talking for Jimmy Kimmel. And no, I'm still gonna talk. I still got my thing to say. And that, but he's it's okay for Bill Burr to say this, because it's okay for him. He's allowed to say the stuff because he's considered dissentant. For Hollywood.
There's something to be said for, that being by design. that when you it's like what's his name, Bill Maher, right? It's like when you find the person who their shtick is, well, I'm not mainstream. I'm what's the phrase that Rubin lady is going by now?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah. What's the phrase? It's gonna.
I'll find it here in a minute.
It's gonna bother me now.
Contrarian.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Tom Woods. Thanks.
yeah. So
As I look at his Twitter.
you establish yourself as the contrarian voice, and so you're the person that they bring on to be the other side of the debate. But then when they all actually control that person too, now they're establishing, this is how you establish the Overton window, right? We're only this is the level of disagreement we're allowed to have, and it goes from here to here. And when we control the person on the far other side, and we tell them where they can set their level of dissent, and we tell everyone else, well, look, you either are where that person is or left, then everyone kind of just fall. It's like the dominoes; they just all fall to the left. Mm-hmm. But of course, that also means that if you're to the right of Bill Burr, then what are you? You're the psycho on the internet in your underwear who doesn't know anything. Talk like this! You're gonna try to helicopter in those winds? That's Bill Burr's whole fucking shtick. I just did Bill Burr's entire career in 15 seconds. So what a shame! What an absolute shame that's he made himself on that, and now has sold himself on it. Just
I remember watching his special, Why Do I Do This? It's one of the best specials. I to this day, I'll still say it's like one of the top 15, 20 specials I've ever seen ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh God. I laughed so fucking hard. It's like when I watched Borat for the first time. I laughed so fucking hard watching that. And then, like, the one after that, Let It Go, was on par for that. And then, I think his first Netflix special was good. And then when there was one that he did, what was it? I can't remember what it was. But there was one like after that, like the fourth or fifth one. After that, it was like, there was definitely like a drop off, for me at least.
Now that I'm sitting here looking at Let It Go, which was like really, really early, and then Why Do I Do This, which was that feels like it wasn't that long ago, but it was actually 2008. This is just more me having a senior moment. I think that the way you can look at Bill Burr is the less hair he has on his head and the more hair he has on his face, the more woke libtard cuck he becomes.
Well, some people would say, and this is probably blasphemous for me to say, but some people would say that it's because he's married to a black wife, and she's like this Hollywood producer, I think, or something to do with Hollywood. So some people are like, I think she's trying to like steer him to be that. And I mean, here it is. Here's Bill Burr in all its glory now. You know, Hollywood. Here's Hollywood Bill Burr, right?
Well, you know what? It's like you could say one thing in his defense and then one thing on the other side. We're trying to do like the compliment sandwich thing here.
Yeah.
Is on the one hand, I specifically remember him. It was after the whole the woman who was on The Mandalorian that got canceled because she wrote some stuff.
Gina Carano, I think.
Gina Carano. It was right after the Gina Carano stuff because apparently she and him were buddy.
Yeah.
And then of course obviously she got canceled. And then obviously he didn't say a fucking word, did he? And it's like this he's a stand-up comedian, right? That's his career. And he's just playing this bit role in Star Wars, but suddenly it's, sorry, Gina, you know, you're down the fucking river. I can't help you. And I saw an interview where they asked him specifically. And this would, of course, it's very easy to comment on things a year or two later, right? It's way harder to do it right then when it matters. It's a lot easier to talk about it down the road. So this is me trying to speak in his defense, and I'm not even doing a good job. But he specifically was asked like a year or two after the fact, you know, well, hey, what was the story there? You know, what's your impression of what actually happened behind the scenes, and why didn't you, you know, like, you're friends with Gina, why didn't you say anything? And this is honest to God, his answer almost verbatim was he had just had his kid, because he's a dad now.
Right.
He had just had his kid. His child was still basically a toddler, a baby, and he felt like he had only really just made it in Hollywood to the point that he's making, like, you know, serious fuck you money. And he thought it, you know, it was a business decision, is basically what he's saying, is that it's like, you know, I feel like I need my 15 minutes of fame to last a few minutes more so that I can make enough money so that my family can live comfortably should something happen either to me physically or something happen to me professionally. And he decided then, I guess that was his way of saying that he thought that if he spoke up that they would can him too, and that he would lose money, and he didn't feel like he made the business decision that money was instrumental to his family's financial security, and he kept his mouth shut. And I don't take from that admission that he's proud of it, but it's still what he did. And so the point being is that is who he is. Like, none of this really should come, and it's only gotten worse from there. So it went from he was willing to buck trends to be his own man, to I'm not happy with the way things are, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut to make more money than I was making, to I'm actually going to be a genuine defender of the status quo. So, like, that's the full evolution on display for him. That's so sad. I mean, it's the same thing, like Louis C.K. did the same thing, right? Like, Louis C.K. used to say some shit. And then he had his whole scandal. And I'm not like sitting here relitigating his scandal. I don't give a fuck one way or the other. But when he came back from that, he was much more tame. And it was kind of like I'm going to address the elephant in the room. We're going to put that behind us. But he's never really been the same since. Like, he's not gone back to being quite as much of a firebrand. Partly maybe he's just because he's getting older. I mean, that's certainly an excuse. But Louis C.K. has never been as funny or punchy as he was before that, because I think, again, his attitude is he was on top of the world, and then he ran a serious risk of losing it all, and now it's like well, I just want to continue to earn a living as much as I can until my 15 minutes are up, because it looked like they were up. It looked like he was done, and now he's able to eke out a little bit more, so he's just going to toe the line. So, you know, it's easy for us to sit here and judge them like, you know, well, I wouldn't do that. Well, I wouldn't. But that's the thing, though, is that I'm actually willing to say no shit, I wouldn't do what Bill Burr's doing, because he's not just keeping his mouth shut anymore. He's now carrying their water. That's different. I would try my best to accept you and move past it if you were in a position to speak truth to power, but you kept your mouth shut because you stood to gain or lose money. But I would think way worse of you if you actually went out of your way to defend them. That's way different.
So while you were talking about his interview, talking about Gina, I saw one in the Hollywood Reporter. I don't know if that's the one you were looking at. And it was in 2022. And there's a part in here where he's asked about Carano's firing. And so the interviewer says, I asked Burr if he thinks Carano's firing was a fair move. He said, no, he says, I thought it was funny that the liberals proved her point. They just use outrage because they don't like your politics. As someone who considers himself liberal, it's disappointing to see the left become how the right used to be when they went after the Dixie Chicks after they criticized George W. Bush. There's not a lot of people like that. Most are just trying not to get in trouble, but there's a small collection of lunatics, either on the left or the right, at any given moment that cause hysteria. And now there's so many media outlets that want eyeballs. They make money off advertising, that they give attention to these crazy fringe people. And then he goes on to say, the whole thing with Gina, you can't chime in when the shit's happening because then you cause static for other people on the show, he adds. That somebody's opinion or their political beliefs makes people try to destroy their ability to make a living. It's fucking bizarre to me.
Yeah, so again, he's excusing himself, though. He didn't say that shit when Gina was packing her bags.
Yeah.
He didn't say that shit when there was any chance in the world that something could be done. He was saying it to a reporter long after the fact to kind of, like he's putting himself above it, but he didn't actually help her. And so that definitely sends a clear signal that it's like, well, I'm trying to maintain my image, but if you and me work together and you get in trouble, fuck you, buddy. That's
right.
That's Bill. But again, that's still if this were you and me and you had made that statement about whatever, I would be willing to let it go. But that's not what he's doing right here. Right here, he's on the total other side of the spectrum. He's all the way to the left on the spectrum of actually I'm going to carry their water. That's something I just can't abide, and I've talked about that in the past before. Is that like some people have the attitude. It's kind of like things you don't discuss with friends or in good company or family. It's like, look, if you want to keep certain topics off limit because you just want to have a good time, enjoy dinner, have holidays with the family, whatever, I can respect that. It doesn't mean you don't have the opinions you have. It just means that out of just the sake of decorum or neighborliness, you're gonna keep certain things to yourself, or you're gonna understand there's a time and place. Right. But again, there's a huge distance between going along to get along and doing their bidding. And if you're going on national television, like fuckwad is here, and you're talking down to the people who don't really love their authoritarian overlords, and you're carrying water for them, that's unforgivable. So Bill Burr can't come out a year and a half from now and say, yeah, it looks like a lot of that death and destruction was probably Newsom's fault. I just wasn't aware of it at the time, but you couldn't say stuff like that back then, because if you did, it would cause problems for the people you were on with the show. No, fuck you. No, you don't get to. I don't know if you enjoyed that impression or not. You don't get to do that.
It kind of sounded like Hank Hill to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's fine. But no, you don't get to play that card again. You don't get to. And also, he's more established now. Like, that's the other thing. It's kind of like a professor that has tenure at a university. The whole point of having tenure is that you then have the ability to challenge the status quo without just getting fired the next day. That's what tenure buys you. Yeah. It's the same thing as financial or professional security. When you've made a lot of money and you've risen to a certain point professionally, you are afforded the power to you're negotiating. You're negotiating some of your own clout or potential earnings or whatever in exchange for fighting against some type of evil. The people who fail to do that absolutely should be judged more harshly than the dude who's just trying to feed his family, who's on a knife's edge. Like, look, why is it that the revolutionaries always have to be the dudes who are living paycheck to paycheck? Why can't the fucker that has like $50 million in the bank just speak up for his friend once or twice within 90 days? No. No sympathy for these people.
I love how they acted surprised. Why did that happen? I have no idea. He wrote on the bullets why it happened.
Oh, we're back to Luigi. Okay, yeah.
I never left Luigi.
How is Bill Burr the father, the husband in an emergency situation?
I don't know. I'm all right. Like
Are you?
when big stuff happens, I get ridiculously calm. My Achilles heel is little things.
Huh.
So, like, if the house was going to be on fire, I would just be like, well, kind of be cool to not own anything. Like, I'll just go into that mode. An opportunity to build a dream house with the money I no longer have. I would just think like that. But, like, little things I flip out at. Like, if I go to make toast and then all of a sudden it burns, I'm like, who the is changing the settings? And what I realized... I just realized this backstage is what it is I learned as a kid, when big things are happening, keep your mouth shut or the big thing comes at you. And then I flip out over the little things because I'm emoting about that in this. So I don't make any sense to anybody in my house. They're like, Dad, it's toast. What is the big deal? It's like, well, I would tell you what the big deal was, but it's too sad. So we'll just keep it on the toast.
Yeah, something he said there. He
he was
like,
when the big things are happening, I learned to keep my mouth shut so the big things don't come at you. Well, at least he admitted he's a coward.
Right.
There's a little self-reflection.
Look at that big face he's making.
Yeah.
Come on.
What a coward.
Oh, man. Billy.
Yep.
Oh, Billy.
Yeah.
New special coming out. Are you going to watch it? On Hulu.
Oh, on Hulu? Absolutely not. Who the fuck watches it?
It's kind of a drop off from Netflix to Hulu, right? I mean, who even watches Hulu anymore?
It makes you wonder a little bit what the story is there. I mean, I don't know. It's the same thing as like take Dave Chappelle, when him saying the stuff that he said about like gay and trans people.
Right.
And then there's all the big firestorm, and then he kind of doubles down on it and is like, all right, well, fuck you, I guess. Like, for one, I don't think people doubt Dave's street cred. But number two, I think if he were here, he would also tell you that he knows that he has the financial security to be able to speak his mind. Mm-hmm. And if it blows up in his face and that's the end of it, then that's the end of it, and he'll go away. I mean, there's something about just celebrity culture in general, right? That most like big actors or big musicians or whatever are not super relevant from the moment they hit the stage to the moment they die. Like, that's not typically normal. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad. It just most people just don't land big roles every single year or release hit new albums every single year or whatever. Most people have a peak window, and then that's it. But for the ones who do enjoy, like, for whatever period of time they kind of hit the top of the hill, yeah, there's a certain expectation that they should feel free to speak their mind. And so all the more reason that, what's that whole thing about, like if Hollywood and academia and the press all agree with you, then you're not fighting the mainstream. You're not against the status quo. You are the status quo. So that's where he is.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens when once Donald Trump's inaugurated, and we'll see what he does with his presidency. How's Bill Burr going to react? I want to know what Bill Burr's thinking during that whole time. I'm sure his wife's going to be extremely happy.
People who live in that bubble are probably the kind of people who, again, I bet their go-to response is to do like he did with the people on the internet, is to talk about, man, man, these tens of millions of people all over the rest of the country, all that everyone's seen the map of all the red counties versus blue counties, and so you have a relatively small blue section of the country that has a whole lot of people in it versus this vast area of conservative leaning people. And I'm sure their attitude is that, well, everybody here that's just like me and everybody I know voted for Kamala, and somehow she didn't win, so that must mean all of those people are all just stupid hillbilly redneck. They're all the people on the internet sitting there in their underwear in their mom's basement, all the same old tropes. They must think that about like 150 million Americans. You think about that. They have to think that about literally hundreds of millions of Americans, because it's the only way that they can square that circle of how do we not get our way politically all the time? It must be these hundreds of millions of retards.
Yeah, living in a country of retards. I should move.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I forget who it was now, or like Ricky Gervais. Like Ricky Gervais is a lefty. But Ricky Gervais was also the one who was going up to the podium and saying, you people who get up here and give speeches about, the downtrodden and the quality of life for regular people, you don't know anything about life. You don't know anything about how the world is. You don't know anything about how these people live or what's important to them or any of that. So just shut the fuck up. So Bill Burr used to be that. It doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't have one set of opinions or another, or didn't agree or disagree with everything. But you just kind of got the feeling that his general attitude is that, well, you just can't dismiss the other half of the country because they think differently than you, because maybe they think differently than you for good reasons. That's actually something Dave Chappelle said. Dave Chappelle has explicitly said, of course, he says it in a joking way. He talks about living in Ohio amongst the poor whites.
Yeah, right.
But in that same shtick that he was doing, he talks about how he likes to talk to them and he likes to listen to them because he likes to hear why it is that they think the way they think. Right. Because it's not an endorsement. He's not saying that I agree with the things that they think, but I understand why they think the things that they think. And it's not because they're stupid or evil. It's because they think differently than you. But if there's one group of people I'm positive that I don't think like, and I'm glad I don't, it's fucking people in Hollywood.
Man, the last time that Ricky Gervais, when he hosted the Golden Globes, that was it. Mm-hmm. After that, we don't want you here anymore. I mean, he basically said it too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he was surprised that they brought him back for another year. Yeah. And yeah, he dropped the bombs all over him.
Oh God, how long was this?
Of course, that was when like the Epstein shit was fresh, and he told them all, "I know he was your friend."
Tom Hanks's face, like looking like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's when.
Oh yeah.
Like, because Tom Hanks was like America's good boy or whatever. Now you look at him, you're like, kind of weird. I don't know about you, dude. I don't know about you.
It's too bad I got into TikTok last year, because now I'm legitimately sad that soon it'll be gone. It's also a bit weird that the government can just ban an app.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Somebody I know just tweeted that. That's wild.
That is kind of So I saw some people be like, why are they banning TikTok? I don't understand. And of course, you're seeing the Con Incs of the world. Oh, it's a pro CCP app, and but then you see the other people who kind of get it, where they're saying they're not as pro Israel as some other people. So
yeah,
there's a lot of that stuff. I don't know who can you answer this question. Who
calls their kid Ernie? Like, I tell you what, if you name your kid Bert or Ernie, and it's like at this point you're just picking, are you a top or a bottom? But I think that one infographic said that Ernie is the bottom. Remember that one?
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch indeed. Yeah.
I guess to talk about another comedian that we both love and miss, Norm Macdonald, right? Norm Macdonald.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob Uecker passed away. I believe it was yesterday.
Yeah.
We'll just say recently. And so I wanted to share this video with you. I'm sure you've seen it before, but to cleanse this Bill Burr thing or whatever that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go ahead and share that here.
Bob Uecker, by the way.
Oh, did you see that?
Yeah,
Was he mad?
Whatever.
Was he really?
Was he?
What do you mean?
Last time I went on Letterman, I told a story about Bob Uecker.
Yeah.
And what did he say? Does he not remember it?
He said, no.
Was it a bad story?
The story is, all right,
Don't tell the story.
don't like.
He
I
doesn't
don't care.
remember
Bob
that
Uecker's 90. I don't care if he's
Yeah,
mad.
yeah.
I love Bob Uecker.
No, he wouldn't know it from this show.
How do you know Bob Uecker?
Well, that's part of the
Yeah,
story.
that's part of the story.
Norm did a commercial for light beer.
Okay.
So it was when we were doing the Norm show. So he invited Norm out to spring training in Phoenix, Arizona, and said, "Look, man, come the fuck out to Arizona, man." He's a guy you hear on the TV.
Yeah, Bob Uecker.
Right, but he's so filthy when he talks. Every other word is fucking unbelievable,
Right.
and he's one of the funniest guys I've ever met.
Right.
So Norm says to me, "Hey, man, let's go hang out with Uecker," because he knows I'm a big fan, which was nice. So we go to Arizona. And it's the funniest 24-hour period I've ever spent. We played a round of golf with Bob Uecker, and he let us sit in the booth to listen to him announce a Brewer Cub game. Okay.
Right.
Now, he had a cough button. You know, if you're going to cough, you hit the cough button,
Right.
and you're not on the air.
Sure.
So, from what I remember, Norm might not remember this because he's friends with Bob Uecker. But anyway, Uecker would be announcing the baseball game.
Right.
And like a fucking jazz musician, it was unbelievable. If he saw a really hot chick in the crowd, he would hit the cough button
Right.
and say something filthy about her, then go right back to announcing the game. It was like magic. So
Unbelievable. You think that's a high risk thing to be doing. That's like walking the high wire.
he would say shit like this. He'd go, here's the 2-2 pitch to Sosa, ground ball to shortstop. Look at the fucking tits on that whore. Over to first base, 2 down.
And he'd hit the button that quickly.
Yeah, and
So you must have been out of your mind, entertained. And now when you listen to him, you're wondering, like, during the spaces, what he's saying.
Howard, that's the story I told on Letterman. I cleaned it up.
Right.
And he started using like old guy words for the chicks. Like he'd go, fly ball to center field. God, I'd like to get with that trollop. That's the third out. So the other thing he did, let me tell the one other thing he did, because this is amazing.
Yeah.
He sees John Fogerty.
No, that was what I was going to
Creedence Clearwater
Let me
Revival.
tell that.
Yeah, all right, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Norm.
So he sees John Fogerty, from Creedence Clearwater Revival. So he's like, "Hey man, that's that fucker's a rock singer." He goes, "But he can get out of the sand trap like nobody's fucking business." I played in a charity tournament with him. So we're like, "Yeah, we know who John Fogerty is." And he goes, "At the 7th inning stretch, I'll have the fucker come up and sing for you."
Fogerty's there with his kid, by the way. He's a big Cub fan. He's here with his 8-year-old son, John Fogerty.
So we're like, "No, you don't have to do that."
Right, don't get John Fogerty to sing.
Leave him
for us.
alone. It's all right. We don't want him singing in front of us.
So then he gets mad at us. He goes, "Do you even know who fucking John Fogerty is?" So we go, yeah, he did Creedence Clearwater Revival. He goes, "Yeah, he did all that fucking shit." But anyway.
So what happened? Did Uecker actually call you after Artie was
No,
on Letterman?
I was in Arizona, so I said, "I'll go to spring training." Forgetting that I saw I already do it. It was really funny on the, sometimes you do things on TV and you forget that it's a human being you're talking about. That's great.
I don't think it was.
Well, you know what it is? Uecker has a clean-cut image. He's one of these guys that broadcasts for a network.
Did I get him fired? I don't think I did.
No, but he probably doesn't want it out there that he's busy, talking about broads.
The other thing he did was he was on Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah.
And he found out that 4 years into the show, he found out that the actor who played Mr. Belvedere might be a homosexual.
Right.
So
I asked him a question because Fred Wolf told me there was a rumor that Mr. Belvedere, the actor, during a read-through, sat on his own balls.
Right.
At a read-through, and I didn't know if it was a myth or not.
Yeah.
So Euchre, he doesn't listen too much. Oh boy. So I said to him, I said, "Is it true, Bob, that I heard this thing about Mr. Belvedere that he was at a read-through?" And then he goes, "Oh yeah, he was a huge fucking fag."
he goes. I said, "I remember you from Mr. Belvedere." And he goes, "That guy was fucking riding up the Hershey Highway."
Nice fucking guy. Though.
And then we golf with him, Howard. We're golfing with him, and again, it's a guy you see on TV.
Right.
And like, there's two women in front of us with two guys,
Right.
and he's like, "What the fuck are these guys doing?" And he starts screaming. He goes, "Start moving! What is that? A gang fuck up there?"
So he's a fun guy.
He's the funniest guy I've ever met in my life.
How do you become friends with a guy like Euchre? You'd think
I
the
know
two
how
of you
you
guys
don't
would
become friends.
But I just think like you two guys would have no reason to get together. Here you are,
We
this
did a-
irreverent comic. And,
We did a Miller Lite
oh,
commercial.
that started the friendship.
But anyways, I was in Arizona a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks, a month ago, whatever, for spring training, and I went up to the booth, and he goes, "Man," "Hey, what about that fucking Artie Klein?"
Artie Klein.
And then he goes, he really does not like Artie Klein anymore. And he goes,
He doesn't know Artie
Good,
Klein.
fuck Artie Klein.
Yeah, Artie Klein's an asshole.
yeah.
Right.
He goes, the funniest thing is, he goes, "That cocksucker must be running a little short of material."
He's doing Bob Euchre private lines.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, tell Bob I'm sorry. But he really was one of the funniest human beings I've ever met in my life.
How old a guy is he?
Man, he looks good. He has two like artificial knees he just got in.
He was a catcher, so
Right.
So I go, "How are the knees?" He goes, "Fucking great, man. I can still give a fucking blowjob." I shouldn't be saying any of this.
Yeah, Jesus, Norm, you're doing the same thing.
I know.
The man's got grandkids.
I know.
He's giving blowjobs?
I said it clean on Letterman.
What the hell does that mean? He's giving a blowjob.
Wow, he's clearly not.
He told us a
Matter of fact,
story. What was the
remember
story?
when he brought us back to the hotel?
Yeah,
And we were
yeah.
going in, and there was a bar, and he said, "Man, that bar looks like it's got some good cock in it." And we were kind of confused. We thought.
I think he was trying. I think. That's true.
Wow, he's
Apparently,
wild.
Norm can't remember any of the insulting things I remember.
But I remember why. I found out why he said it because I asked Bob Costas. I said, "That seems very strange," and he said that athletes use that term for women, for pussy.
No,
Yeah,
I think what happened was
because they're so masculine.
That's crazy.
Because they're so masculine that they can do that. You know what I'm saying?
He thought like they're comfortable in their sexuality.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think what was going on was he was being like extra filthy.
Right.
I think he thought we were two like younger comedians, and he was trying to like maybe.
You think he was trying to impress you in some way, like
yeah.
talk the language of the young comics? You
Maybe
kids?
there might have been a little bit of that,
Yeah.
but I mean, because every other word was fucking. It was so funny. He told us some of the most amazing stories about old baseball guys.
Right.
That what did he played a
Billy
trick?
Martin.
He played
the bag's on you.
He played a trick on Don Drysdale, his old pitcher.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know Don Drysdale.
Everybody
of
knows
course.
Don
Yeah, you know what?
Drysdale.
As a matter of fact, I can't even
We
tell that
shouldn't
story.
tell that
Oh, yeah,
story,
don't
no.
tell
It,
Wow.
it involves Frank Sinatra and a kidnapping. He goes, but I don't know. I don't know.
That's fun stuff.
Yeah, he was the best. I loved him. I'm
Yeah.
sorry he doesn't like me anymore.
Well, Artie Klein, you know.
Yeah, he likes. Artie Lang, the comedian, he likes.
I'm sure he'll appreciate Norm's. There's a lot of cock in that bar. Me and Norm could not stop doing. To this day, when we call each other, we have to do Bob Euchre for 20 minutes.
It's so great. That's great that he even got to see the appearance
Yeah.
and hate you. That's wonderful.
So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, Howard Stern. Speaking of someone who kind of
Yeah, no shit.
yeah
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Jeez.
glad that you're using a Howard Stern example.
yeah I know, right? That's good stuff.
Yeah, you should have just hit the button to end the show at the end of that clip. That'd have been great.
Yeah. I'm not as good of a producer as Dave, so
Yeah, well, only one person can be the number one producer in late night.
yeah, that's true. So, yeah, where can they find It's Too Late with Alan Mosley? And where can they
I'll
follow you
find
on
out.
social media if they want to?
They just right there. At Alan Mosley TV on Facebook, and YouTube and X. I think we're finally calling it X now instead of Twitter. Just instinctively. Rumble, all the places. You just go to @AlanMosleyTV. New episodes of It's Too Late, Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. This season of It's Too Late is going to be a little bit different. I think we're going to do some more entertainment and pop culture related stuff. I'm just over politics, so
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I've even actually had to tell a couple of people. I'm not going to say who they are because I'm sure we'll still do something. But I've actually had to tell a couple of people who would conceivably be on the show for some kind of a topic or something that, hey, if you're going to come on to plug this or to talk about this, that's fine, because I've never been in the business of trying to police anybody. But I don't want to talk about politics. So if you we were looking at having a personal finance person come on and talk about some things. Okay. And I had already had that same speech of if you want to come on and do your best Dave Ramsey impression but not be a closeted homo, then that's cool. We're happy for that. But leave the politics out of it. So if you want to talk about the top 10 things young couples can be doing to improve their financial health, and that's great. But if it devolves into, well, the reason for all this is because of fucking Obama, and it's no. Yeah. We don't want that. That's over. That was before. We're done with that. So yeah, I think we're gonna have a diet person is gonna be coming on, a dietitian person thing. Yeah, it's a good plug. And they may be talking. They may talk a little bit about RFK and Red 5 or the food pyramid or whatever.
It's a good boy band, Red 5.
Yeah, Red 5. Yeah. So it's okay to broach the topic, but I don't want to spend the whole time talking about politics and regulations. I want you to be actually talking about the positive, I know I'm wanting you to tell our audience the positive changes they could be making, not all the negative things the government does, because we've been there and done that. I happen to know a couple who will be returning to the show in the near future to talk about some recent shows and movies we've been binging. So
yeah,
so there's that. Yeah.
There you go. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure it'll be a good one.
I'm sure. I'm bad with names. We talked about that earlier.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check It's Too Late with Alan Mosley Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah, 9 o'clock Eastern time.
I was gonna say Central because yeah.
I mean, I'm in Central, and so the show is at 8 o'clock Central to me. But if you say 9 o'clock Eastern, then you don't have to do all the time zones. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, thanks for the first episode of 2025. It could be the last one. We'll see. I don't know.
It is 2025.
I know. It's crazy. And we're literally, I know this is going to sound amazing and insane, but we are just today and then tomorrow, the next day, inauguration. And then we're not going to have any, women are going to have no more rights. So
thank God. It's about time, too.
I know. Once the 20th happens, all the women got to go out and they got to get out. They all got to gather in the courtyard and then. All right. See you later.